Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Forestlake Morning Show. Thank you for joining us. I am your co-host, Tyler Cohen.
I am your other co-host, Brendan.
And today we are talking about the School of Rock. Not the movie, though.
Not the movie. It gets mistaken with the movie a lot. Like, you tell people you went to the School of Rock, and they're like, oh, I've seen that movie.
Yeah, the first thing they think is the movie.
Well.
Yeah. So the funny thing, too, is I do think the movie... don't quote me on this, but I think the movie actually did come from the Paul Green School of Rock, which came first.
So Paul Green School of Rock came before the movie?
Yes. So a quick backstory here. And the whole purpose of this is our roots in music. This is why I think I'm even playing music, and it's the reason why I even met Brendan. So it's a little more history. But back in 1998, a guy by the name of Paul Green at the University of Pennsylvania, he was a senior, decided to start teaching guitar lessons out of his living room. Now, he had plans to go on to law school, but he really did like teaching. And one thing that he noticed was he was teaching these kids who practiced got good.
Wow,
who would have thought that?
Crazy.
And the kids who didn't sucked. So
yeah.
The other thing he noticed is with those kids that practiced, they were more fun to teach. Right? It's like rewarding. If you're teaching somebody, that makes sense, right? And you see them actually, improve.
Well, you get to practice like better and cooler stuff too.
Yeah, you can.
To just
Yeah,
basic
exactly.
chords.
And as a teacher, you're like, damn, I'm doing pretty good. It's probably pretty fun. I don't know what it's like to teach. Shout out to all the teachers that are doing great things out there. But so with that, he actually then started to take it to the next level. So he would host rehearsals on the weekends to like motivate them, say, hey, or like a reward. Hey, you practice. We're gonna get everybody together this Saturday for a jam session. Mm-hmm. And then from there, he took it one step further and said, okay, we're gonna play a show. We're gonna do a show out at a local venue. Basically, then gave him another reward, gave him more motivation to keep playing, keep practicing, and I don't think he really knew what he was onto, but this started to grow. Okay. And I do have to tell you, Paul Green is the founding father of whatever you hear about the School of Rock right now. And if you ever hear anything about it, he won't be mentioned, even though he's the OG creator. So he actually ended up being able to create this business up to 57 locations nationwide from 1998 until 2010.
You know your stuff.
Yeah, well, I had to do a little bit of research for this podcast. So he left in 2010. I don't know the exact reasons. I think maybe it was just getting a little bit out of control. This is me speculating. Or somebody came to him and said, hey, we can really go big with this. And maybe he saw a check and was like, damn, that's a nice check. Because that's what I would consider.
100%.
You always take a big check.
Yeah. So
he left in 2010, or there could have been bad blood somehow. Well, there wouldn't have been bad blood. He was running it. In 2010, it was taken over by some corporate level management. There's actually an education firm out of Chicago, multi-million-dollar firm, or I don't know if firm's the right word, but they do a lot of educational program investing, and they invested into this. Now, their investments right now have led to School of Rock, just called the School of Rock, no longer the Paul Green School of Rock, which is when we began. We began
kind of like that transition period, I feel like.
What's that?
We began like that transition period, I think.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it here in 1 second. So once corporate took it over, they now have 274 locations in 10 different countries. So this is global, and it's growing. It's not slowing down. And depending on who you ask, I remember at times people were like, "Oh, it's corporate," and we did, like you're saying, we started to see changes. I felt like
right away. Right as we got in.
We didn't like it. Now, when did you join the School of Rock?
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that. Honestly, I don't know. I couldn't give you a year. Maybe like 2011, 2012, something like that.
So
no, definitely before then. 2010?
You had to have been in when it was the Paul Green School of Rock.
Yeah. No, for sure it was. They had the Paul Green logos everywhere, the little guy plugged into an amp,
the little
swirly
figure,
cable.
Yeah, definitely something I'm getting tattooed on me.
I don't know about that one.
Possibly, yeah.
I don't know about that one.
Okay, so you were probably around the era. I can speak. Let's give them a backstory here with how we got affiliated with it out of Cleveland. So I joined in 2007. It was the first location.
You were an early one.
I was like right at the start.
Yeah.
We're gonna be shouting out, not really shouting out, but just name dropping a lot of people that are involved in the School of Rock and our history and any affiliation or relation to the stories that we have had there. Shelly and Mike Norhad, two lovely people. I don't know what they did before the School of Rock. I think they do this solely now, but basically entrepreneurs. They somehow heard of this. They invested into opening a school in Rocky River on Detroit Road, just past the high school a little bit. If anyone's from the area, little brick building.
I think she opened my school as well on the east side.
Not at the same time, I don't think. Right?
Maybe not at the same time, but she was also like the person there.
She definitely did. So yeah. Well, they still do, and they still operate and own the 3 locations out of Northeast Ohio.
Look at them go.
Good for them.
They're killing it.
I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
I hope it's bringing them in the big bucks.
Probably.
I'm sure it is now, especially with how much it's grown. But so they started with the Rocky River location. So their first one, right? I don't think they even knew what they were really getting into, but it turned out great. That was in 2007 when that school opened up. And then they led to a location in your area, because you're not from the west side of Cleveland, right?
No. Yeah. So I'm from East Cleveland, the east side of Cleveland. So it was Highland Heights. Yeah, Highland Heights was the school location. But yeah, it was just a weird place. Like, your building was like real old and just had a lot of character to it. Very small. Our building, still pretty small, but it was in like an industrial park. Mm-hmm. Like, the place was called Alpha Park, and like you would just be driving through like these corporate offices to get to like this place where all these kids are jamming out. You're like, this is slightly out of place, but I'll take it.
We were jealous. So they now
of our location.
Absolutely.
What do you
mean?
So Strongsville, we were jealous of Strongsville a little bit.
Well,
brand new one.
Once Strongsville came into play, then I feel like Rocky River and Highland Heights teamed up and were like, damn, now we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
So there was the OG Rocky River, and once Highland Heights came into play, it was like the new big thing. It was like, oh my God, they got this big space and all these. Their main rehearsal room was huge compared to ours.
It had a whole bathroom in it.
Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah.
And so you guys were like the new kid on the block. So cool, had all the cool stuff. And then when Shelly and Mike decided to open up a brand new one, I mean, like sparkling new out of Strongsville, then I feel like you knew what we felt like.
You know, honestly,
you know what I mean?
I wasn't a fan. I liked the character. You know, we got so used to like the east side and the west side locations.
Right. The character was everything, which is why the Rocky River location no longer exists. They actually opened up one in Westlake now. Probably better business, and it's a bigger space than that Rocky River one. But when you lose that character, it hurts, dude. You know?
It does.
It's not the same.
We put all those dings in the walls, you know?
Every ding in the wall. There's so many fun stories in those places. Rocky River got to the point where, because it was growing so fast and it was already so small, they made lesson rooms even smaller. They were putting up like fake walls to take one room and make it 2 rooms.
I remember
you know
that.
What I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty terrible. And I think they knew that, but they had to wait just a little bit enough to start investing into that Westlake location.
Yeah.
So it turned out great, but essentially this is our childhood, okay, for Brendan and I. And the funniest thing about it is us both coming from School of Rock. There's so much information behind it, but Brendan and I weren't even friends when we got into what was called Headliners. Now, Headliners was the audition-based program.
Yeah, it's kind of like you have your main playing level where like everyone kind of starts, right?
Do you want
to
quickly do a recap of how School of Rock works?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a big program, but honestly, so like anyone just starts up, right? And you pick your instrument and then you go and do lessons. So like weekly lessons, bi-weekly, whatever you're doing. Mm-hmm. And then while you're doing that, you're also rehearsing for a show.
Right.
And it's like, what, every couple months they do a show?
Every 3 months.
3 months. Okay, so every 3 months they play a show, 2 shows or something. And, you know, each show will be themed, like an Aerosmith show, an AC/DC show, whatever it might be.
All covers.
So, yeah, all covers. But you're learning these songs, and, you know, you're kind of doing these lessons throughout. And, you know, if you get stuck on a part, you know, you and your instructor will go over that song, basically. So it's really cool how that's kind of structured out. And then, you know, rehearsals once a week, twice a week, whatever it is. So you do get really good at these songs. You get really good at playing, and you learn very quickly doing that, I think. But yeah, so there's that basic platform, and then right above that is something called headliners. Headliners is kind of like the upper tier, or the mid-level tier, maybe.
Mid-level
for
tier,
School of Rock,
because then you got
All-Stars, yeah. So you audition for headliners, and you kind of just go through like a rigorous,
intimidating.
It's very intimidating interview process.
For when we went through it. I don't know what it is now because
I'm not sure for other schools, but
yeah, we'll talk about Tommy Rich, the king.
Yeah, but with that, you would still do your base level program, but then you would also do a second layer on top of it. So more rehearsals, more shows, all that good stuff, and maybe like more difficult songs.
It's more responsibility, and it's also more opportunity.
Yeah, 100%.
Because that's going to lead you to that top tier of.
Yeah, so then there's the elite tier.
The elite tier, if you want to call it. Yeah.
Once you're in headliners, you can then audition for All-Stars, and that's basically headliners on steroids, but those guys like go on tour and do more stuff basically.
Right. Yeah, so. And All-Stars is like pretty much, I think, run by corporate, and basically what they do is they fund an actual tour. Now my brother was able to do when he did his. He's 2 years older than me, so he was able to get into All-Stars, the first of my family. They went on an actual tour, like city to city, I think East Coast. Like from tour to, like it mimicked an actual tour of a rock star. But you were with other kids from around the nation that were literally the best of the best. And I'm going to take that back because I feel like you don't say the best of the best. They just, in the words of Tommy Rich, they suck less.
They suck less.
They suck less.
Sounds about right.
It sounds right. And I'm not going to disagree with that. I think it's just a good way to think about it. You don't want to best of the best. No, they just suck less. It keeps you humble.
Sure.
But these are really talented kids across the nation. So that's what Brendan was talking about with the elite tier. All audition based, and kids audition and they don't get in. It's a big deal in the School of Rock, kind of. Now, I think sometimes, or maybe to save money, what they've done is they just do, when we went on tour, it was like only in the city of Chicago, and in the city of Chicago, we just bounced around to different venues. So it was still cool, but we didn't do that like tour aspect of city to city.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of where we got our experience with headliners of touring city to city.
Right, because we funded our own tour.
We funded our own tour. We said, enough.
Yeah.
We're going out.
Well, I think that's because Tommy Rich ran the headliners out of the Northeast Ohio School of Rocks under Shelly and Mike. They're the business owners
under strict regime.
And Tommy Rich was the music director, and he is. You want to talk about a mentor? He's a mentor to me. I don't think he really knows it, but I mean, the dude was musical genius, high standards, scary at times, like just with his expectations of being able to know your parts and have to play.
If you didn't know your parts, you would hide.
Yeah, it was terrible, dude. I still have memories.
You wouldn't come to rehearsal.
I have memories of rehearsal where I didn't know a part and I just got chewed out.
Yeah. Oh, same.
You know what I mean?
Multiple times. I walked in and I learned a completely different song with the same title because I didn't bother to look at the artist. I just searched the song name. I learned it, but it's the wrong song. So he's, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I start playing a completely different song. No. Tommy just gave me a look. I just walk out. I'm like, Tommy, I'm sorry. Let me just go learn it.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. So, but that's kind of like the beauty of it too, looking back on it. Like it was so great. But basically, Tommy Rich was able to. His musical genius was able to take these songs and he almost adapted them in his own way, which was really cool about our headliners.
Yeah, lots of mashups and cool.
Really good mashups and structures to make a song not the same sounding song. We weren't just playing that song from start to finish. It was a whole new creation. And I think he saw the beauty of what we have done, especially what he had done, because he tailored everything.
He was proud of them.
Yeah.
He was proud of the song.
He was so proud that we led ourselves to a tour. I mean, we funded it through, we did a garage sale or one or two. I think there were some anonymous donations from the wealthier parents of some of the students. Yeah. And so thank you to those people. Cause I remember that one tour someone came in clutch with like a last minute.
I do remember that.
Anonymous donation.
Made it work.
We all know who it was. But we definitely appreciated that so much. And I can't remember what else we did to raise money, but we did just your gritty from the ground up money raising for our own fun tour. And we did the East Coast, right? We went to the East Coast.
Yeah.
And hit up other School of Rocks.
We did we do like Indiana and Illinois as well?
Oh, I feel like we did, but I thought because we went to DC, Philadelphia,
New York,
New York,
New Jersey.
That was cool.
Indiana.
Ohio probably was involved in there. It was a really cool tour.
Yeah.
We had a bus driver named Daryl. And
Daryl the man.
Daryl was the man. And it was fun. It was just really cool because it was us. We weren't all-stars. We were still that mid-tier, but it was representing our school, and we got to go to all the other School of Rocks and play shows with them. And they really put together something awesome there. So it just was a great time. I feel like you have to understand that kids growing up have sports like we had music.
Yeah, this was our sport. So I played a lot of sports in middle school and kind of starting high school. And then I would be missing a lot of shows and rehearsals.
Yeah.
And Tommy was not having it. I think he told me like, hey, if you miss another show or something, like you're done. I was like,
that's because he knew you were the best guitarist in the band.
Well, so I quit sports. I was like, you know what? All right, let's do music.
Did your parents were totally on board?
Yeah, I think they were a little hesitant at first, but I think they kind of caught on board pretty quickly.
Now, just real quick, were you playing guitar before the School of Rock or no? Like
Yeah.
this got you into guitar?
No, Guitar Hero got me into guitar.
Oh my God.
You remember Guitar Hero?
Hell yeah, I remember Guitar Hero.
I'd play that all the time. And like eventually I got so good that like I would just play it. I memorized the notes, so I would just play it and I'd like walk around my room not looking at the screen, and I would play it and get like 100%. I'm like, oh, this could be cool.
Oh my God.
So I got a little electric guitar and that got me into it.
That's a lot of hours playing Guitar Hero.
It was quite a few.
That's too many.
Yeah.
But if you were that good. So
Tommy, man.
So you played Guitar Hero and your mom and dad were like, oh, sweetie, would you be interested in actual guitar at the School of Rock?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, that's how it worked?
I think it was my neighbor, actually. I went there, and we were playing.
Oh, okay.
We were playing Guitar Hero at his house.
Oh.
And they were like, dude, you should just get a guitar and like,
play the real
for real. Yeah. So I kind of started that.
Nice.
But, yeah. But I think, so you mentioned earlier, and it's kind of funny, like, School of Rock, the Headliners group was kind of small, but I don't think we were very, like, close friends.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Maybe not. So I feel like there were generations of it because my brother was in it before me, of course, because he was just a little bit better. And
it was kind of like a seniority thing.
It was.
Like, the more senior you were, the more, like, popular, I guess you were.
Yeah.
Like, slowly you kind of built that credibility as you, as
and then
stayed
I
in.
think it started to grow, especially because Tommy was able to see that these kids we were practicing and we passed auditions.
Yeah.
Now, the funniest thing too, real quick, because in the span of, so I was in from 2007, right when it started, to my junior year, which is ironic because I left School of Rock a year early. You usually leave when you're 18. I left because I wanted like 1 year of high school, and I got into like men's choir. I got into the theater, so I was in a play, and it was like it was like my only year of high school where I actually experienced like networking and talking with girls and like having friends in high school, because School of Rock consumed my life, and
it's very time consuming.
So time consuming, and that's where my friend group was. I had not really any of the people that I was with at School of Rock were my grade at Westlake High School. So the last year of high school, I got to experience high school, which was nice. But during that time period, so much had changed. In the beginning days of School of Rock, there was no headliners. If there was a show opportunity, I remember the first one was the Rib Cook-Off, and Pat Benatar was playing. She was headlining the Rib Cook-Off in Cleveland.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, they didn't have people. They didn't have an audition-based headliners. There was a sign-up sheet. It said, "Oh, can you attend this show and play these cover songs?"
Yeah.
For this show.
That was at Nautica, right?
Yeah, Nautica.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just signed up for the show. That was like the earliest version of headliners. And then I think when it started to grow and more kids started to come, Tommy really got creative. I mean, the dude was creative. And then he was like, "No, we got an audition basis," which is something Paul Green was doing. It was, and Paul Green, to bring him back up, he was going to go to law school after his senior year of University of Pennsylvania. He never did, except for in 2018, he went back to law school. So now he's a lawyer. And he actually runs the Paul Green Rock Academy, which is a very selective, audition-based only group of kids. I bet those kids are freaking gods.
Is that another multiple location thing?
No, I think it's just right out of Philadelphia, New Jersey, where he's at. So shout out to him. I know a lot of people I've heard bad things about him, but he does seem like a good teacher, especially now with some videos I've seen of him. But back to what I was saying, Tommy Rich created this beautiful thing with the program of auditioning, and they were scary.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, because Tommy Rich wasn't doing it by himself. He had the auditions with like Ed Stevens or Joe Stefano. Basically,
it'd be a panel. You'd just go up, you'd play your song, and you'd get all these music theory questions, and
you'd have to do a solo too.
You'd have to do a solo featured song. Yeah, it was
featured song. So it
was intense, man.
It was intense. Yeah, and all the people that were teaching at School of Rock are basically local musicians, like some of the best of the best. I think Tommy Rich auditioned them
I can see it
to get 100%. Into the school. You know what I mean? What's your history? What bands have you been in? How long have you been doing this, that, and the third? What's your education? And then sits them down and says, okay, play this, play that, and then asks them a bunch of music theory questions for each instrument, right? Like in order to teach at the School of Rock, you had to pass Tommy Rich.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. And I think that's why Headliners was so fucking good.
Yeah. Because
the people teaching were great mentors. And I still look up to so many of them, even though I'm not really in touch with a lot of them. But yeah, just amazing times.
So let me ask you this. What did you do after School of Rock? Because I feel like you get out of School of Rock, and it's kind of like you just went through this whole boot camp experience is kind of what you feel like, right?
Yeah, I had to leave.
You're
some people don't leave School of Rock.
Some people don't. Some people get stuck in that loop.
Yeah, which is fine. I feel like now it's a career. You can make a career out of it because it is so global. But what I did was I went into the military. So I really left it. But
straight out of
grad. Well, so I left a year early to School of Rock. Then I did the high school stuff, had fun, and then I went into the military. And then that picks up episode 1 of the Forestlake morning show pretty much. But the funny thing that you mentioned was like sports. Sports are like the coolest like collaborative teamwork thing you can do for memories as growing up as a kid. Music is the same, but you have to understand the School of Rock isn't your music classes at school. It's next level, and it's not even taking private music lessons. It takes it to a whole nother level. It's on steroids, and it's a really great way to network and socialize with kids in a fun fucking way, and go out and play shows and be a rock star pretty much, or at least feel like it.
Yeah, I think at a certain point you just kind of realize that you're playing just for the parents. You know, like your shows.
Yeah,
it depends on like the shows and the locations. You know, that varied a lot.
Well, but do you remember a time at School of Rock where we had to sell tickets to our show?
Yeah,
I don't know if they do that anymore.
Starting out, we had to.
Yeah, no. Now it's just probably for the parents.
And it's like, Mom, Dad, how many tickets do you want to buy?
Yeah, but it was so cool because they made it realistic. It was like, here's your envelope of tickets, sell them for $10, and if you sell bulk, you can do like $3 off or whatever. But they gave you like an actual card stock ticket to give to people to come to your show. Like, take these to school, take these to your family. It was kind of cool.
I feel like that ended pretty quickly though. I don't know what happened to that. I think that was only for a couple shows.
Well, it's kind of hard to get kids to like young kids to understand why that's an important thing. Now I understand, like, if if Forestlake is putting on a show and we got to start promoting it, I'll do whatever it takes. But at that time, it's like, I think maybe because it's corporate now. Yeah. Corporate's like, now we're just going to figure out how we can make most money as possible.
Oh, so I remember, so I was in a band after School of Rock, right? And kind of fresh out of high school, we were planning to move to Nashville, like got management down there and everything, and we needed a bass player. And so we came to you. Yeah. We're like, hey, we're working on this album.
What was your band called?
It was just under the singer's name at the time. There was really no like band name.
You want to say that name or no?
We'll withhold it.
Okay.
For now. But so there was kind of like this album in the works, right? And I think we were showing it to you, and we are like, hey, you want to come to Nashville?
At Starbucks.
At a Starbucks in Cleveland, yeah. And we're like, hey, you want to move to Nashville with us? Be your bass player? We got all this stuff lined up.
Yeah.
And you listen to it, you're like, yeah, I'm good. You're like, I'm gonna do my own thing.
I don't remember exactly why. I think I kind of maybe either knew that I was going to go to the military or just I didn't want to make that commitment. Yeah. What I'll say, this is a life lesson right here. Things work out.
Yeah.
Look at us now, Brendan. So I mean, I can't say otherwise, but if I had gone to Nashville with you guys, maybe we'd be famous rock stars by now. But maybe we would hate each other. Maybe me and you wouldn't be in this band, this position, right where we're supposed to be right now. So the lesson of this episode, everybody, is trust the process. Things will work out. And I'm serious about that. Things will work out. I think it's funny you say that because when I look at it from my perspective, everything you went to go do in Nashville has helped this so much. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, honestly, that made me reach back out to you.
Right. Exactly.
When you started putting out your own music, and then I was working on like the production and mixing side of things. Like we were kind of in our own separate worlds, but like working on two very important but separate parts of a song. And, you know, I think eventually like you put your stuff out, and that's when I saw it and I was like, oh, let me reach out to him. We'll make something better here. And that kind of started it.
It just worked, yeah.
Yeah.
Started with from the outside.
2 albums later, 3 albums later.
We did move them. They were hidden in the viewpoint here, but they are now right here. Started with From the Outside Looking In, and then we had an EP, a single release, and then an album release, and then we're working on our next album.
Our songs have come a long way.
They've come a long way, and we have come a long way, and we're still going a long way. Now, were you in any other bands in high school, or?
Yeah, I was in like your typical high school band. Like, I feel like every high school, like senior year, junior year, had like that one band that would like play out locally, and you'd have like all your emo high school girls go to the shows.
Okay,
I was in that band.
Not your high school band. You're just a band in high school.
Right.
With kids in School of Rock or no?
No, separate.
Okay. Was it good?
It was actually not bad.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was like all originals, which was cool.
Okay.
And indie.
What'd you guys call yourselves?
The Natives.
The Natives?
The Natives.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Is that name still up for grabs?
It possibly is.
I'm not sure what they're doing anymore. Just in case Forestlake needs another rebrand, we might have to take the Natives.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty cool. So then you just finished School of Rock normally. 18 years old, you finished, like, it was a big deal. Okay, it's your last show, like.
Yeah.
So long,
C'est la vie.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, that's
really cool. So you were able to leave the nest.
Escape
the nest.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with anybody that is still there. I think it really is a beautiful program that has done so much for so many people. So many memories. I mean, think about it. Like tour. We're not going to mention things, but you put a bunch of teenagers on a tour bus.
Yeah.
And put them in hotels playing music, and
some good memories were
you know
what
I'm saying? Guys and girls, teenage guys and teenage girls. That we'll leave it at that. But really fun times and a beautiful thing. If you're looking at getting involved in the School of Rock or have anybody that wants to,
I'd say do it.
Yeah, go ahead and do
Just
it.
Dive in.
You know, I had to give up sports too. What sports did you play?
Football and lacrosse.
Okay.
And then I just
did they miss you, or they're like, no, not our star receiver? What'd you play? Receiver? You look like a receiver.
Receiver. Yeah. And then lacrosse, I was the dude that had to run back and forth across the entire field every time. Like,
isn't that what they all do?
No, but there's like one position.
Okay.
That just midfielder.
They call it midi.
Back and forth. Yeah, like it is the most exhausting position. It's like soccer, kind of.
So what's the goal of the midi person?
You play offense and defense.
Oh,
yeah.
So some people just stay on one side of the field?
Yeah.
Well, that's easy as fuck.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
What the hell?
Like, can I get that spot, please?
They have a goalie too, right?
They have a goalie. Yeah.
So you left that stuff.
Yeah, I just kind of left it all.
Left it all.
Worth it though.
Because Tommy Rich was like, "Yeah, you can't do this."
Yeah.
It was the same for us. I remember our mom would like.
What were you playing?
I was playing football, wrestling, and track.
Okay.
And my whole family was. My brother was doing the same, but the music became much more of interest that it got to the point where we were running from practice, after school football practice, quick stop at Wendy's for a spicy chicken sandwich, and then
right to like a show to school, or rehearsal.
We're changing in the car.
Yeah.
It was terrible times like for our parents to have to do that, but they were great and they did it. But it was fun, and School of Rock is a blessing. I think we'll throw in some clips of what our School of Rock was, of the headliners specifically during our generation, because it has different generations. I think even after we left, there was a new generation of headliners. And I saw a video of it. It was pretty fucking good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was. I think it might have been when I say generation, I just mean like, I don't know what it actually is, the separation, but I know my sister kind of extended on into it after I left. And then I think there was like another generation. I don't know. I think they still exist right now, but it's not run by Tommy Rich anymore. I think he retired. Good for him. Man put in his years. And yeah, I hope it's, I don't know if it can be as good as it could be if it's not by Tommy.
I think we were the OG generation.
We were the OG generation and we killed it, dude. Not to brag. Well, we just sucked less. Mm-hmm. We sucked less than anyone else before.
That's right.
And that's all thanks to Tommy and Shelly and Mike for throwing that school together, all three of them, and all the teachers, Ed, Joe, Russell was his killer pianist. Tim Moon's a great vocal coach there. I think he's still affiliated with it. I don't know who was on the east side that was really big.
Teacher-wise?
Yeah,
everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone was really good.
Yeah.
But I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Our time is up here.
Save it for another
episode. We're getting
episode.
the red buzzer. But
thank you all for tuning into this episode. We are Forestlake, but we were in the School of Rock, not the movie, the actual School of Rock. At one time, the Paul Green School of Rock, but now just the School of Rock.
I wish the movie.
Yeah.
Cool.
And we left. All right. Thank you. Have a good day. Peace.